everyone, I'm back, and let me show you what's up for today. All right, previously we made the part off of this mold. This is a splash mold. It was only for temporary use. I ended up using it a lot more than I thought I would, and it works for that, but it's caused some issues. One of the issues is it got damaged moving it because it is so lightweight. You can see it's just the bare amount to give me the shape. So that missing section, so what I did yesterday was, actually a couple of days ago, made a mold of the part of that that exists and the part of that exists, and then there's still that gap there. And what I realized is that this thing isn't quite symmetrical, but it's pretty close to it. You can see it starts here thin, gets wider in the middle, gets narrower, and comes out. Now, obviously, the front and rear flare sections are slightly different, but they're not a whole lot different. They're real close. So what I decided, since these are basically mirror images of each other, I can remake that center section, part of it, and put it in to replace that missing section. Now, let me go show you what's going on here, how I'm doing that. All right, so on the piece that is facing me, this is the one that had a complete section on the mold. The one on the back is the partial sections that I had to make, or I could make from that. And then right there is the missing gap. So if you look, it will be real close to take and make this, remake a piece of this, and then flip it around and bond it in to replace that missing section. Might not be perfect, but it's awfully close. I think it's close enough to work, and that'll get us past this. So then we'll have both rear fender flares completed so that then they can be grafted onto the car. I've already checked everything. This one that is here pretty much fits on the car like it is. It's going to need a little touching here and there, but it's close. The other thing we worked on is we put the vents into the hood, and these are the vents that came with this hood. And it's a known fact that they're not perfect. They're a bit, we'll call it misshapen. So if you look at this, the second one here, this has got too big of a peak. It sticks up. So if you look at it like this, it should look like that shape of the hood scoop is continuing through the vents. And if you see that one sticks up, you can't even see the one behind it. Same thing over here, it's slightly off here. Much more obvious if I go to the back and look. You can see that second and third from this side, both of those vents stick up way too much. So what I'm going to do is take a straight edge, put it across here, and then I'm going to mark where that needs to be cut to get the curve correct. The idea is to continue this curve and make it slowly, not go away, but get less pronounced. All right, same thing over here, but not as bad. You can see the first one's about the right shape, and then the next one sticks up a little bit more right here. Same thing here. So again, we're going to do both of those. Now the long ones look okay. I don't see that they really need any significant work, but it's these. So ideally, when I get done, these should be mirror images of each other between the right side and the left side. They're not even close right now. So anyway, what we'll do is we'll come up with the right shape. Then we're going to make our set out of carbon fiber. So I made these carbon fiber sheets, put foam in the middle, put a layer of carbon fiber on each side. And so now, once we get the right shape, we already have templates over here, but again, they're templates made off of these. So we'll go off and modify the templates. After we fix this, we'll modify the templates to match, and then we'll cut them out of this. All right, so that's the plan. That's probably gonna be, we're gonna do this in the next couple of days. Here's our rear hatch. It's pretty much done. We scuffed it in order to put clear coat on it. It's ready to clear coat, but we're waiting until we have everything ready, or more pieces ready to clear coat, so we can do it all in one shot. And the weather needs to cooperate. It's not the greatest weather right now to be doing any clear coating. Here's our nose section that we did. Pulled it out of the mold, and then again, scuffed it to get it ready to either, we're gonna paint this one. So put paint or wrap or whatever we're gonna put on it. But there are some defects, some air pockets. We've gotten real good at fixing minor issues. The mold itself was damaged in certain areas, so we're fixing that. So once we get done with it, this would be a good piece to make a mold off of. The other option would be to fix that mold, which of course could be done. Haven't decided which of the two to do, but we'll do one or the other. All right. The next thing is, if you remember, I put the rear wheels off of the C6 onto the front because they're bigger and wider, and they more closely represent what I'm going to use for front wheels and tires. Not exact, but closer than what was originally there. So what I ran into is the offset is completely different between the front and the rear. And what happened is at a sharp turn, the tire actually rubbed. And so I had to figure out, was it rubbing on the body pieces that I added, or is it rubbing on something else? Well, the answer is it was rubbing on something else. The back edge of inside edge of the tire and the front inside edge of the tire were actually rubbing on either the inner fender well or the suspension pieces or the frame itself. So what I did is I put spacers in there. I know I need to space the wheel out, but I didn't know how much. So I got some washers and stacked them in there. It ended up taking 8 washers, which is a 1/2 inch, so it moves the wheel out a 1/2 inch. It still very slightly rubs at full lock. So I've got to decide whether to move it out more or what to do. Now, I'm not going to obviously run those washers. At most, I would run a spacer there, and then I would have to put longer studs. I stopped at a 1/2 inch because there's only 1.5 or 2 threads engagement on each of the lug nuts, and so that's not sufficient. You need at least 3 threads. So at 7 washers, it was 2.5 turns, and of course each turn is a thread. So that's almost enough, but again, then I still had the rubbing problem. So this was just to figure out what does it need to move out so it doesn't rub anymore. Ideally, I would probably put 1 more washer. Each washer is a 1/16 of an inch, so it would be, what was that, a 9/16 of an inch moved out, or the offset on the wheel will be different. Again, these aren't the right wheels, but by taking what the dimensions of this wheel and transferring that to a new wheel, I will have custom wheels made with the correct offset. Now I'm going to run into the same issue with the back. And right now though, this is the old front tire, which is a smaller diameter and narrower. So that's not even close to right. But I got some good news the other day. I was checking one of the other cars that we've got, and it so happens that it has 1-inch spacers in there. So no stack of washers, and at 1 inch, I'm pretty sure that what happens is that, well, I thought, okay, we'll have to check. But anyway, either there's long studs that go through here, long enough to make up for that inch, because you can see there's enough thread easily there to hold the wheel in place. Don't know why that lug nut's missing, but neither here nor there. Or this is one of those where it's offset. So the actual spacer bolts to the hub through a lug nut type thing that is right underneath here, and then these are offset from that. Or somebody went in and put really long studs on the hub, and that's how it's bolted in. Either way, it doesn't matter. Both work just fine. So I just got to do it. So another thing I'm going to do is literally take these wheels and tires off of this car, go put them on that one, put those on this car. So this car will have all far too small rear wheels and tires on it, but it won't matter because this is a later project to do. While I'm looking, let's look at what's on the front here, just out of curiosity. So these are obviously dead. They're weather cracked, but they work good for mocking stuff up. So if I look here, all around rotation, somewhere around here is a size. There we are, 255, 40, 18. 255, 40, 18. All right, so let's look at this one and see what size it is. And it should be a 3 something. And of course it's down at the bottom too. Let's see how, oh, so this is a 285, 35, 19. So it's an inch bigger, but it's only a 285. I could have sworn the other front one was wider than that. Let's check and see. All right, come around here. Let's look and see if I can find the size on this one. Well, oh, there it is. Same size. 285, I'm gonna see if you can see that. 285, 35, 19. So they are the same size. All right, I do have one other set, the set that's on the Bugatti. Let me see what it is. All right, and this is there we are. Ah, 275, 40, 18. All right, so it's narrower and a smaller diameter, so this won't help. It's probably, though, might be bigger than the ones that are on there, but it doesn't, the front ones. Doesn't matter. All right. So that's what I'm going to do today is play musical wheels and tires in addition to doing this. So what I've got to do here, I'm going to spray this with PVA so it does not stick and so I don't have the issues with surface tension that we sometimes have with epoxy and wax. And so I'll make that missing section. I will also probably make this curve. I only need part of this, but I'm going to make this curved section right here because I'll show you later that I need this nice curve because the existing body doesn't have a nice curve there. It's actually got a sharp edge. This actually gets cut off. And so right here, so there's not a nice radius here like there would be. Plus, that's probably not the right shape. I'll see when we get there. So anyway, I'll go ahead and make that curved section. So I will have this entire section right here, and then I'll cut off what I need and leave the rest. The part down here is fine because it actually, this would attach to the body on the outside. This actually goes on the inside because it is deeper than it needs to be. How much deeper is what the wheels with the spacers will help me determine. So all of this is just to help me figure out what's the right size, shape, space, whatever that we're going to use, and we'll go from there. This is the front fender flare. Again, I only needed the flare, but as long as we were making, went ahead and made a lot of it, a lot of extra. We can always use the extra pieces sometimes and would hate to find out that I needed it and didn't have it. So it's just a waste of a little bit of epoxy and carbon fiber. Here is the actual front fender, carbon fiber, with the front part of the fender flare in place exactly where it belongs. It's just the back piece that I needed. That's why I made that extra fender flare only to get this section that goes right through here. But again, it's not exactly what we need, so we need to make just like a 6-inch section or something like this. We're going to splice it, move this down, and then fill in where we spliced it So again, it was easier just to make the whole thing than to try to make exactly what we needed. All right, this is the excess from the fender flare. Did the same thing, went ahead and made the whole rear quarter piece and then just cut out the fender flare to get what we needed. So now we've got some extra shaped pieces, I guess for wall decoration or something. We knew the vents wouldn't come out well because they're not done well on the mold itself. All right, I think that's got everything. Ideally, I'd be working outside, nice day, except for it's overcast and looks like it could rain, looks like it could clear up. Doesn't matter. I do need to move stuff out because we're getting tight on shop space. At some point, I'm going to spend a day just cleaning this place up, but I've yet to find a day that I say, hey, this is the day I'm not going to do any real work. I'm going to clean up the shop. All right, that's all I've got for now. Like, subscribe, hit the alert, hit the thanks if you want to donate. And if you don't like what we're doing, you don't know Jack. Bye.